I wore a MAGA hat to school. People were angry, offended seeing a half Asian male roam between classes with my red hat on. Then grade 11 and 12 rolls in and I tune out of politics. What happened? I finally realized how useless it was to debate others about politicians and government policies. From then on, I took a more sideline approach with these political conversations, emotionally maturing and understanding that not everything has to be a fight. The energy I put in, following the news, following what today's politicians had to say, would create an outcome that would not make an impact on my life. To give more background, I do not want to go into every political belief that I have. What I will tell you is the kind of person I was going into the political space. In grade 9, I started watching Steven Crowder, a right-leaning comedian and political commentator. After watching his change my mind, I tried getting into a political debate every other day until the end of grade 10. In hindsight, I was being a dick who masqueraded his amusement and desire for winning as intellectual sparring, and I wouldn't be lying if I didn't say I liked the attention I got from my controversy. However, in all the time I was debating, I was not actually pursuing the truth. I had no intention going in with an open mind. I'd only listen to their words in order to dismantle their arguments and win, which is a cardinal sin as I see it now, using the tools of debate for recreation rather than the outcome of getting to the bottom of things. So here's the approach I take now. My number one rule I take is from How to Win Friends and Influence People. The only way to get the best out of an argument is to avoid it. Recalling one instance, there was a girl in my year 12 digital solutions class who asked, "What's your opinion on abortion, Denzel?" I immediately shut down the possibility for debating by saying, "I do not have an opinion." The old me would have dived straight into the question with a controversial answer. However, I steered the conversation saying, "The topic is too complex that I choose not to take a stance." I think people forget you don't need to express or have an opinion on everything. The criteria for what I have an opinion on is on things I find important. Because politics isn't that important due to its lack of impact on my life, I don't really have an opinion. What I value more is the truth. In saying that, I definitely have political beliefs stored in the back of my head. However, I don't think about it on a daily basis simply because it does not affect me. Like, what good comes from thinking about problems of wider society if my problems as an individual are not being addressed by me? What makes a governing body believe it has more knowledge, wisdom, and competency to create a positive impact on my life? The needs of the collective are made of the needs of the individuals. If the individual can address his needs by doing the work, the group is in a better position moving forward. Perhaps I'm more ruthless than I think when it comes to solving one's problem. What about those who are disadvantaged by circumstance? I can think of many examples. The homeless, drug addicts, alcoholics, the low performers. Whose fault is it? That is the wrong question to ask. These questions tend to lean asking who is the oppressor and who is the oppressed, like an invisible force that is marginalizing people from achieving the most out of life, thinking they do not get enough support or benefit from someone else. Government is pointed at for that. But I dislike giving personal responsibility away. As Alex Hormozy says, power follows the blame finger. I do not like giving power to something I have no control over. Thus, instead of anger towards politicians or government, I don't care as much. But I will retell the only time I've been angry about politics. A classmate from my digital solutions mentioned a peer of ours during his philosophy class. She had a water bottle in a stubby cooler. It said, "I heart free speech," with the words "free speech" crossed out with a pen. Our classmate asked why she crossed it out. She said free speech shouldn't exist. After hearing that, a red mist engulfed me. Living in a Western country, she has the privilege to say that, to criticize her government, politicians, and other people without the fear of violence. True oppression is when you want to speak the truth, but a violent ideological authority called government stops you from exercising truth. Free speech is the fundamental human right. Without the ability to debate and speak freely, the human rights conversation could not occur in the first place. Inability to speak freely leads to the oppression of the soul. And how about saying it to the face of those who face persecution for freely speaking? Saying it to the ones who have fought to protect that right. Wars have been fought to keep oppressive regimes from indoctrinating their ideologies. That's what made me angry. With history written of totalitarian governments rising and oppressing the people, how can she be so blind and spit in the faces of those who protect our very right? From all this is the big lesson I learned from my political phase. When I did bring my MAGA hat in grade 10, I'd put it on my desk in history class. Then my history teacher would walk past and say, "I'll take that. Let me put it on my desk and you can pick it up after class." I didn't retaliate. In fact, I was unfazed, thinking she wanted a reaction from me. I got my hat at the end of the class and she asked, "You want reactions from people, don't you?" My reaction encapsulated the word "sure." I didn't want to openly admit to it, but there was an element of getting people's reactions that compelled me to wear it. Then, in the same history class, We had a group activity that involved role-playing government representatives tackling a controversial issue. My teacher told me directly to not try getting into any debates during this class activity. Nonetheless, the school lunch bell rang. Before I left through the door, my history teacher asked, "What did you take away from today's lesson?" To listen more. I made the general comment and probably didn't understand the prolificness of it until now. If you can put away your pettiness of wanting to be right, what the other side wants is to be listened to. Of course, there are degrees of right and wrong, but what most sides must understand is that the common goal is not defeating the other side. It's pursuing the truth with someone who might have a different perspective from you.